Hello and welcome to Space Shark Teaches. I'm Sean from Space Shark Studios, and I'm here to teach you visual scripting in Godot 3.1. Let's get started.
In this lesson, or this partial lesson, I should say, we are going to be taking the end of lesson 14 and changing everything to use smooth movement so that instead of this, where it's just flat linear movement, we'll actually have it ease in and ease out. So to start with, we need to go to physics process on our player and remove this chunk because it resets the velocity every time. So you can see it gets the movement velocity and it multiplies it by this 0, 1, which means keep the gravity, but left and right movement we don't want anymore. And then it sets to that. That's why no matter what, we're always going to go a fixed speed. So we can go ahead and get rid of all of that, hook this in, and now you can see it's still flat. So that's because of something in the gravity function. But if you jump, you can see we accelerate off the screen. And we're wanting that acceleration. Let's go ahead and move these back over here, and we'll start fixing things up. First off, movement velocity needs to be changed. This is actually current velocity. And what we want move speed to be is actually move acceleration. Gravity is fixed. Gravity is already working correctly, but move acceleration is what we're going to be using from here on out because you accelerate. So let's go through our functions. So we have this right here, and it is saying if we're on the floor, set our movement velocity, which is now our current velocity, to gravity. And we don't actually want that. What we want is to set current velocities y to be gravity. So this is how we'll do that. So we say, all right, we have this value of gravity. So let's set our y value to be gravity because we're on the ground, so we want it to be constant, right? Otherwise, down here, we're setting our movement velocity to be gravity plus our current velocity. And sorry, I'm having to reset all of these things now. So this deals with the gravity issue now, or it should, but we have to go through and fix all of these now. All right, hold on 1 second. Our velocity, gravity. And always remember, we have to go through and reset these. Do values every time. Oh. Well, that's what happened. I forgot to pull in get current velocity. And so now we have can speed up and fall off. And you can see there is a max speed now. The problem being the slowdown is not there. So let's go ahead and slow some of these down anyway. So max speed to 200, max acceleration to 10. So now we're maxed out, but you can see if I let go, it keeps going. So now that means that we need to figure out a way to cause it to slow down if none of these are pressed. And so one way we can do that is by adding one more variable called isMoving. Make that into a Boolean, set it's off, and do not export it. So this is basically asking, is this button pressed? And we can go ahead and say, all right, let's go ahead, no matter what is done, we're going to say, all right, we are moving, so we're moving to the right, or we're not moving to the right, depending on this. I'm going to say it's this and currently moving. And that's how we get this value. So that after we have moved to the right, let's go ahead and copy this over. We can go over to move left, do the same thing. Save, and then at the very end, I want to say, all right, isMoving needs to be set to false to begin with, so that we're only moving if we have one of our two movement keys pressed. And finally, when we get into move, we can say, all right, before we move and slide, the final thing we need to do is check if we are not moving then we need to slow down how fast we're going, right? And so if we're not moving, we need to get closer to 0. So once again, this means condition if our move speed, our current velocity, get x is greater than actually, I think there is, nope. So if it is greater than, because I don't think you can enter those, greater than 0, then let's go through this again. we want to take our move acceleration divide it in half and by 1 so that we don't screw up, and then add that to our velocity. In order to set our new velocity. And that is if we are moving too fast. Or not too, that's if we're moving to the right, but are no longer pressing on this button. And then of course we get to do the same thing. So copy, move these all down. And say, all right, we are not nope. And I forgot one little thing is if we have to do a condition that says, where I go, basically this exact same thing but less than that is the only time that we set this new number. Because otherwise, if it's 0, we're going to end up moving around. Put this over here. Now let's see. So it is no longer picking up. If is moving is, oh, that's why. So if moving is false is when we want that to go. All right, so it works to the left, not to the right. So let's see what's going on. So over here, if current velocity's x is greater than 0, then that's why we actually want to subtract. Well, that is not right. Okay, so this is because we're trying to do this with vectors. So what we should actually be doing is using this move acceleration, multiplying it by 0.5 and 0, and then subtracting it. So let's go ahead and do that here as well. Multiply by half and 0 and add it. And this is when you need to make sure that you're subtracting and adding the right things to each other. We should always be subtracting from the current velocity or adding to the current velocity, not the other way around. difference. There we go. And now we have moving and sliding, but only for one way. So now, oh, that's why. And this is why I encourage everyone to learn how to code, because spaghetti, literal spaghetti code that we have going on here is not fun. But you now have smooth movement with only a whole lot of work that had to be done to make it so. I will be sharing this project as always, and sorry that this is such a mess, but in order to make it nicer, you would have to have refactored everything and done it over from the beginning, and it would not be as flexible in the future.
Thank you for watching Space Shark Teaches. If you'd like to see more, please subscribe to the channel and remember to click the bell to always stay up to date. Please also join us on our Discord, linked in the comments, and check out our other videos if you ever want to see what else we've been up to. Thanks again for watching, and we can't wait to see what you make.